After hooking up with Alex for a night, I made a run for it and went abroad for school. Afterward, that ruthless man didn't even bat an eye. Going abroad was fine, but he insisted I return in 3 years. A few years later, just as I'd stepped out of the airport with my kid, Alex's bodyguards were there to escort us to a car. I nervously tried to lie, "I'm married." Then, from above, I heard a familiar laugh, cold as ice. "Judy, you've got quite the nerve, letting my kid take someone else's name." Everyone knows how strict Alex's rules for me were. It's ridiculous. Since I was little, I wasn't allowed to spend the night out. And falling in love? Forget about it. But tonight, Alex was drunk, lying right in front of me. The warm yellow light fell on his cool, handsome face, stirring an urge in me. "Alex," I called out to him. He didn't respond. Either from the booze or something else slipped into his drink. By the time I walked in, he was already like this. I took a wet towel, aiming to wipe his forehead, but he suddenly pulled me into his arms. "Be good, look at me." His husky voice slid through the night. It carried a commanding tone, calm and elegant. My heart was hammering in my chest. I boldly reached for his collar. On a regular day, I wouldn't dare touch him. Alex had his strict rules. He wouldn't even let me date anyone. How could he let me do something like this? When he sobers up, he'd probably kill me himself. Suddenly, a cold kiss fell on my lips. It made my whole body shake. "Relax," Alex said, his tone leaving no room for argument, instantly swaying my reasoning. That night I spilled tea all over the table, wrinkled the hotel sheets but stayed silent, terrified he'd wake up and realize his niece had dared to climb into his bed. By dawn, Alex finally let me go. My legs trembling, I hastily pulled on my clothes and got out of there. "Judy, you know, someone recently ticked Alex off." I got the call from my best friend while hiding at the old house, applying ointment. Touched a sore spot, pain shot through me, making me wince. He was so ruthless. Not an ounce of pity. "What happened to him?" In a hush, my friend replied, "Alex's people have turned the city upside down, like they're searching for someone. Who is unlucky enough to provoke such a powerful man, right?" I slowly stopped what I was doing. I knew exactly who Alex was looking for. A reckless woman who took advantage when he was drunk. Suddenly, the sound of a door opening interrupted my thoughts. Soon, recognizable footsteps came from the entrance. Hurriedly, I wrapped my clothes tighter and ran smack into the man in the entryway. "Alex." I was startled, hanging up the call quickly. Standing there, Alex, bathed in light, was calmly watching me, his face as cold and handsome as ever. Cold? I looked down, ears burning. "Yeah." His gaze suddenly fixed on the inside of my wrist. There sat a mark from that night. I hadn't had the chance to cover it up. "Got a boyfriend?" The chill in his tone sent shivers down my back. After the torment I went through last night, his scare turned me ghostly pale. "And no, can't I?" Looking down at me, Alex let out a light laugh. "Judy, what do you think? You're only 18, just graduated high school." Yeah, in Alex's eyes, I was way too young. "Before college, you better not let anyone touch you. If I catch you again, you know the consequences." "But Alex narrowed his eyes. "What about you?" "I already slept with you." I didn't dare say that, just ran back to my room with my head down. I figured once Alex knew the truth, he'd cut me some slack. But a few days later, I went to see him at the company and overheard his conversation. "If you can't find her, keep looking." "And if you do?" someone asked. Alex's cold laugh echoed out. "Need me to spell it out? Hand her over to the authorities." Hearing this, I was petrified. Whatever I wanted to tell him slipped from my mind. That night, I booked a ticket and flew abroad, leaving Alex with just one line. "Alex, I'm leaving for school abroad." Hours later, my phone chimed with a short reply. Fine, but come back in 3 years. 5 years flew by in no time. Waking from a steamy dream of that night, I realized we had landed in City A. Even after all that time, visions of that night made my heart race wildly. I closed my eyes briefly, feeling disoriented. The screen was playing an ad for the Fuss Group, and there was Alex's same cold, handsome face. "Mom, we're here." Dora's voice shook me from my thoughts. Her eyes mirrored the ones from that poster, stirring up my worries. I was already 2 years late according to Alex's timeline. If I hadn't heard that he was about to settle down, I would have stayed abroad longer. Cars came and went at the station. I stayed with Dora in the VIP lounge, trying to contact our ride. Didn't even notice when someone opened the VIP room's door. Dora dashed off toward the man leading the group. To everyone's surprise, she ran straight at Alex, arms wide open, giggling, "Uncle, hug me." Dead silence spread across the room. Turning around to see his face, fear gripped me. I rushed over, grabbing Dora and calling out, "Alex." After 5 years, he still looked the same. His deep eyes filled with a probing look as if he could see right through me. Alex didn't seem surprised, he just raised an eyebrow. "Didn't forget me, did you, Judy?" Then, he looked at Dora in my arms, gaze intense. "Got some explaining to do?" "This is my child," I said. More silence followed. Alex's eyes turned icy, locking onto my anxious expression. He turned to his assistant. "Switch the meeting online, take Judy home." Next thing I knew, Alex's people put me in a car. I knew he'd be angry. 5 years without a word, and I come back with a kid. After a one-night stand with Alex, I took off in the middle of the night and went abroad to study. Afterward, this cold-hearted man didn't bat an eyelash. He said I could go abroad, but I had to come back in 3 years. A few years later, I was just stepping out of the airport with my child when Alex's bodyguard invited me into their car. Trembling, I tried to lie, "I'm married now." A familiar, cold laugh came from above. "Judy, you're bold enough to let my child have someone else's last name." Everyone knew that Alex was extremely strict with me. Since I could remember, I wasn't allowed to spend a night out. And I certainly wasn't allowed to date anyone. But tonight, Alex was drunk, right in front of me, basking under the warm glow of a lamp, making him look both cold and handsome. It stirred something inside me. "Alex," I called out to him. He didn't budge. Maybe he was drunk or someone spiked his drink. Either way, that's how he was when I came in. I grabbed a damp washcloth to wipe his forehead, but suddenly he pulled me into his arms. "Look at me," he whispered in a deep, hoarse voice, calm and commanding. My heart raced looking into his slightly drunken eyes, boldly reaching for his collar. Normally, I would never have dared. Alex's family rules were strict: no dating, let alone what I was about to do. When he woke up, he'd likely kill me. Suddenly, he planted a cold kiss on my lips, sending a shiver down my spine. "Relax," he ordered in a voice that consumed my senses. That night, I knocked over a teacup, wrinkled the hotel bed sheets, but I kept quiet, terrified Alex would wake up and realize his bold niece had climbed into his bed. As dawn broke, Alex finally let me go. I quickly threw on my clothes, shaking, and fled. "Judy, did you hear? Someone really pissed Alex off recently," my friend told me on the phone. I was hiding at our old family home, applying medicine on some bruises, wincing from the pain. "He has no mercy," I said. "That brutal?" my friend whispered. "Alex turned the city upside down, like he's looking for someone. Wonder who was unlucky enough to mess with this powerful guy." I froze, knowing exactly who Alex was searching for. A foolish woman who took advantage of his drunken state. Suddenly, the door opened, and I heard familiar footsteps approaching. I quickly dressed, running into Alex in the hallway. "Alex!" I gasped, hanging up the phone. He stood there, wrapped in a halo of light, his face cold and beautiful as ever, watching me silently. Are you cold? My head hung low, ears burning red. Yes, I mumbled. Alex's eyes fell on the inside of my wrist. There was a kiss mark from him. I hadn't had time to cover it. Dating? He asked, voice neither warm nor cold, making my hairs stand on end. Having already been through a tough night, his words made me go pale. No. Is that not allowed? Alex gazed down at me with a slight laugh. Judy, what do you think? You're only 18, fresh out of high school. Alex had always thought I was too young. Before college, no one's allowed to touch you. If I find out it happens again, you know the consequences. But Alex narrowed his eyes. What? I couldn't say it. I'd already spent the night with you. So, I escaped back into my room. I genuinely thought Alex would let it go once he knew the truth. A few days later, at his company, I heard him talking. If you can't find her, keep looking, he said. Someone asked, and if you find her? Alex laughed coldly. Need me to say? Bring her in. Terrified, I forgot what I wanted to say and immediately booked a flight abroad. Leaving only a note, Alex, I'm going abroad to study. A message came hours later, you can, but return in 3 years. 5 years quickly passed. I awoke from that steamy dream to find my flight had landed in City A. Dreaming about that night still made me feverish and disoriented. I closed my eyes, a bit dazed. Alex's cold, handsome face appeared on a TV screen playing an ad for his company, still able to stir emotions. Mommy, we're here, Dora's voice snapped me back to reality. Looking into eyes identical to Alex's in the poster, a wave of worry hit me. I was 2 years late returning by Alex's decree. Had I not heard Alex was getting engaged, I would have stayed abroad longer. Cars were bustling at the pickup area. Dora and I sat in the VIP lounge as I arranged our taxi. I hadn't noticed the doors opening until it was too late. A man, surrounded by others, entered. Dora ran straight for the lead man, arms outstretched, giggling, "Uncle, hug." The room went silent. Seeing that face, panic coursed through me. I raced over to scoop up Dora. Alex. Even after 5 years, he was unchanged. His dark eyes read me like a book, as if he could see through anyone. Still remember your old friend Alex? He asked, raising an eyebrow. His gaze shifted to Dora. Got any explanations for me? He inquired coolly, eyes fixed on me. This is my child. Silence. Alex's eyes went cold. Seeing my anxious face, he turned to his secretary. Switch the meeting online. Take Judy home. And just like that, Alex's people directed us into a car. I knew he'd be mad. No news for 5 years, and I returned with a child in tow. It's a miracle Alex didn't break my leg. The whole way there, I kept my head down and didn't dare speak. Dora, on the other hand, wasn't scared at all. She fell asleep in Alex's arms, all cozy. Alex held Dora with one arm, and he was tapping on the armrest with the other, like some ominous death knell. After a long silence, Alex let out a cold laugh. Judy, it's been 5 years, and you've sure kept a big secret from me. Where's the kid's father? His tone was nonchalant, but the coldness in his words was chilling. I blurted out a lie, he died abroad. I even flashed the cheap ring on my finger for emphasis. Alex just looked at me, saying nothing for a while. The night was dark as the car pulled into the old house. A nanny took Dora inside to sleep. There was just a small light on in the living room. Alex sat on the sofa, staring at me as I stood there all proper. He chuckled lightly. So, what did you do wrong? After 5 years away, at that moment, it felt like I was back to being under Alex's watch again. My confidence faltered, and I whispered, I shouldn't have been gone for 5 years, shouldn't have hidden getting married from you, shouldn't have had a kid. What else? For some reason, Alex's gaze was sharp, like a blade. I bowed my head. That's all. That's all? Alex seemed to savor my words sarcastically, his smile gradually fading. He got up and grabbed his coat, like he was heading out. Alex, where are you going? Alex spoke casually. You didn't know I'm about to get married? I suddenly realized he was going to see the woman he was going to marry, and I nodded, feeling disappointed. Aren't you gonna ask who it is? I looked puzzled. Who? Amy. The moment I heard that name, my face changed. Alex, you can't. Everyone else is okay, but Amy isn't? Alex scoffed. What, you have a kid, and I can't date? No. With the sound of the door closing behind him, Alex left. Late night, in a private room at a bar. My girlfriends were wide-eyed. What, you had Alex's kid? Yeah. Alex and Amy getting engaged was all the talk lately. After a few days, I couldn't sit on my hands anymore and called on my girlfriends for help. They all had something to say, spilling the beans on the reason. Back then, Alex turned the world upside down looking for someone because he'd been taken advantage of by a woman. At first, Alex wanted to have that woman locked up, but then he changed his mind. And later, Amy stepped up and admitted to it, becoming Alex's girlfriend because of it. The more I listened, the more uneasy I felt. Isn't that just impersonation? Besides, back when Amy was plotting to snag Alex, I caught her red-handed. She's just someone who's up to no good. Feeling stifled, I got up to catch my breath in the restroom. Inside a stall, I heard a familiar voice. Relax, 3 years ago he didn't even know who he slept with. The real one should have come forward by now. If they haven't, it means they have no proof. What's wrong with taking her place? Once I'm in, the Alex family fortune will be mine. It was Amy. What a coincidence. That night 3 years ago happened so suddenly. When I burst into the room, Alex was already out of it. Of course, he couldn't tell who I was. He just held me, pulling me into an abyss of desire. Amy took advantage of that opening. Dragging myself out of the memory, I realized Amy was here tonight, and Alex likely was too. I didn't want Alex to be duped, so I searched through the private rooms and eventually found Alex's. When I pushed the door open, Alex was absent-mindedly browsing the drink menu. Hearing the noise, he lifted his eyes and his gaze settled on me. I mustered the courage to walk over. Alex. Yeah? Can you pick another one? Another what? Another girlfriend. I swallowed hard and stammered, I don't like her. Alex's gaze was sharp, like a judge's. Then who do you like? I was nearly swallowed up by those dark, deep eyes. In a moment of madness, I grabbed Alex's tie. Alex, how about me? It wasn't until after I said it that I realized how ridiculous it sounded. 1 minute of silence brought me back to my senses. Oh my God, what was I doing? Alex looked down at me, eventually curling his lips into a not-so-warm smile. You want a stepdad for the kid, and you're shooting for Alex? In my mind, I figured Alex might scold me. Or maybe he'd have a bodyguard drag me out. But it never crossed my mind he'd respond like this. I blushed. Alex leaned in, staring at the tie in my hand, and said softly, Judy, let go. I'll pretend you said nothing tonight. As the sound of high heels closed in outside the room, I stubbornly raised my eyes to meet his. Why not? I'm not a kid anymore. I want to date. Alex asked, with Alex? I pressed my lips together, refusing to speak. The smile at the corner of Alex's lips slowly faded. He grabbed my chin and leaned closer. Feeling his breath so close, I squeezed my eyes shut. For a moment, our hurried breaths intertwined. My heart was in chaos. Was he going to kiss me? But the expected kiss never came. Alex let out a frustrated laugh. You want me to kiss you? Judy, you've got nerve. Shame washed over me, and I trembled slightly. Alex's hand rested on my neck, warmth spreading inch by inch. Open your eyes. he commanded softly. My eyelids fluttered, afraid to look at him. What happened to your courage? I stubbornly said, I'm just not ready yet. That earned a derisive laugh from Alex. You dare ask me to swap girlfriends like that? When you have the guts, we'll talk about it again. After I ran out of Alex's room that day, I avoided seeing him for a while. His secretary told me Alex was busy with work. No time to come back. I guessed he probably figured out what I was getting at and was avoiding me on purpose. It left me a bit down. To distract myself, I took my best friend's advice and started chatting with some handsome guys online. That evening, I put on my makeup and was ready to go. A car pulled up in front of the house. Dora ran out of the car and cheerfully came towards me. Mom, Dora is going on a picnic. A picnic? I was stunned, staring at the man who got out of the car. My mind couldn't process this. Alex turned and ordered the nanny behind him, pack their stuff. Where are we going? Alex glanced at my lightly made-up face, to the resort. In no time, the driver had already placed the suitcase in the trunk. It took me until I sat in the car to realize that the estate we were going to was 100 kilometers away. Alex, I have other plans. Even though that event would be crowded, it would be fine without me. Alex looked out the window and clicked his tongue gently. Why didn't you say so earlier? We're already on the highway, there's no getting off now. The driver chuckled. Alex is going there for business. Little Miss heard and wanted to come along, that's why you're with us. Oh. So it wasn't like he really wanted me along. I turned my head to look out the window, feeling even more down. After a bumpy ride, we finally arrived at the resort after dark. As soon as I got out of the car, I saw a young, attractive figure rush towards Alex. Like a butterfly. You're late. A voice with a slight whine. Alex introduced her. Judy, I believe you know her. Amy acted like she just noticed me. Judy, long time no see. Amy and I were about the same age and were classmates back then. So her long time no see seemed genuine to outsiders. Dora clutched Alex's leg. Uncle, I want cake. Alex's expression softened, bending down to pick her up. Which one? Dora led Alex to the crowd. After they walked off, Amy's smile faded. Your kid calls him uncle? Judy, aren't you embarrassed of your little crush? I don't know why, but despite Alex being so strict, he's unusually lenient with Dora. And he didn't correct her the way she addressed him. I looked at Amy and chuckled. Amy, you seem really afraid of me coming back, huh? Amy gave a fake smile. Of course. Who wouldn't be if their boyfriend was coveted by a niece? Back then, Amy and I didn't have a great relationship. Once I overheard her in the women's restroom talking about how to enchant Alex. I was young and impulsive, so I confronted her. In return, she threatened me not to spread it, or I'd regret it. Later, she went through my diary and found out I had feelings for Alex, threatening to tell him. Over the years, Amy hadn't changed much. Judy, need me to confess for you? With a kid around, where do you find the courage? Alex indulges you because he sees you as younger family. Let's see how that works if you try to reel him in. Really? I took out my phone and called Alex right in front of Amy. When he picked up, I confessed, Alex, I like you. Alex paused on the other end, then hung up without a word. I held up the phone to Amy. Seems like he didn't kick me out of the house. Should I tell him how you've been plotting against him? Amy's smile stiffened. Judy, have you no shame? I had no desire to argue further, so I turned and walked away. Suddenly, there was a splash. Water splattered on me. Then Amy's cries for help filled the air. Help, Judy, don't go, help me. I turned around, surprised to find Amy struggling in the pool. All eyes were on us. Hey, isn't she Alex's girlfriend? How'd she fall in? The lifeguard quickly jumped in to save her. Amidst the whispers, Alex pushed through the crowd. What's going on? Amy, shaken, coughed up water while speaking in a tearful voice. Alex, Judy doesn't seem to like me. Alex glanced at me and met my eyes full of anger. Amy carefully grasped his hand. She pushed me. There were sighs from the crowd. Oh no, that girl's in trouble now. Everyone knows Alex treasures Amy. Alex calmly asked, Judy, is that what happened? I hastily explained. She jumped herself. Amy shivered with cold. Alex, I know I approached you with impure intentions back then. It's natural for Judy to have issues with me. But you knew about all that and forgave me, why can't she? I was taken aback. Alex knew all this? He didn't deny it. All right, I'll send you to the hospital. Amy gave me a triumphant look before more pleading. Can you come with me? Alex didn't blink. Since Judy's not happy, I better stay and teach her some manners. Those words carried a subtle meaning. Amy's face turned pale. Alex let go of her hand, wiped his wet fingertips, and tossed the handkerchief into the trash. Judy, come with me. Alex led me inside. Come here. He casually sat on the sofa, his posture the same as when he lectured me for flunking English. I stayed put. Alex frowned lightly. Why were you just standing there? At this point, my frustration peaked. I suddenly blurted out. Alex, you're so annoying. My voice echoed in the room. Alex acted like he didn't hear clearly. What did you say? Tears started rolling down. Are you old and senile or what? The water was behind me. She jumped after I turned. Alex said, I'm not blind. No one here believes you pushed Amy. Come, change into dry clothes. It was then I noticed a fresh dress neatly placed on the sofa. Still, the fire inside me raged on, and I continued, so you're saying I'm stupid? A vein on Alex's forehead throbbed, maintaining his patience. I didn't say you're stupid. Then why won't you break up? The abrupt change in topic left Alex momentarily silent. He thought for a moment, kept his cool, and said, okay, let's break it off. Sit down, and I'll talk to you slowly. I interrupted him aggressively. I don't want to. You've known what Amy is like for a while, and you didn't break up. That means you really like her. When I seriously told you her intentions weren't pure, I felt like a clown. I was speaking fast and Alex barely found a chance to chime in. I didn't think that. Didn't I agree to break up with her? I raised my voice. You're just brushing me off. I'm drawing the line here. I'm done with your business. Alex's expression was complicated, a mix of anger and calmness held in check. Judy, say that again. I stomped my feet, put on my sneakers, and reopened the door. I turned back and shouted, are you getting old? Can't hear clearly anymore? Then I slammed the door hard under his dark gaze. This was my first fight with Alex. Once I left the room, I calmed down. The hotel was fully booked. Where was I going to stay? Lost, Alex's assistant came rushing over and handed me a room card. Mr. Alex said that Miss Dora is well taken care of. Rest well tonight. My feelings were all over the place. That's all he said? The assistant smiled slightly. Yeah, that's it. It was like punching a pillow. We just fought. Surely he must be angry, right? I took the room card and spent the night in the room sulking. The next morning, the assistant knocked. Mr. Alex said he broke up with her. Whenever you're ready, feel free to come down for breakfast. I was surprised. Really broke up? Really broke up. When I went down for breakfast, the atmosphere was kinda awkward. I had insulted Alex pretty badly last night, and I didn't want to apologize in public, so I kept my head down and didn't speak. Alex didn't seem to care, chatting and laughing with others. Mr. Alex, your partner doesn't seem too happy. Alex said helplessly, she threw a tantrum last night. Couldn't cheer her up. Then he casually handed me a cupcake. I took it and nibbled on it slowly, still not speaking. All morning, Alex kept handing me food until I was too stuffed to move. Finally, I took his phone and clicked on a link to share to his PDD. Just then, Alex's phone buzzed with an incoming call. Not wanting to sit too close, I put it on speaker. A young, mocking voice came from the speaker. "Hey, that kid Dora, is she yours?" That line stiffened me up, and I instinctively sat up straight. Alex didn't even lift an eyelid. "How so?" The person laughed. "Looks a lot like you. When did you secretly have a daughter?" "She's asking for ice cream." Alex paused, finger hovering over the phone, looked up, and stared at me thoughtfully. A strange peace settled over the surroundings. A chill ran down my spine. My heart pounded in my throat. "Judy." "Yeah?" Alex looked deeply at my face, then suddenly smiled. "You hiding something from me?" I calmly stuffed the phone in Alex's pocket as if I hadn't heard. Alex wasn't in any hurry, just watched me quietly, waiting for an answer. I shifted the topic. "I'm going with my girlfriends to the hot springs tonight." Seeing Alex still silent, I added seriously, "I might not come back tonight." "Oh, you're staying over there?" Alex repeated slowly. I got tongue-tied and said sternly, "Don't look for me." Alex laughed. "All right, I won't." With that, I left without looking back. Even from far away, I could feel Alex's eyes on me. Around the corner, I suddenly sprinted in the opposite direction. Help, am I almost getting caught here? Later that night, I surprised my friend by bursting in. "Judy, why do you look so pale? And you smell like booze, have you been drinking?" I stumbled over to her with a vodka bottle from who knows where and plopped down in a plush chair. "Isn't drinking supposed to give you courage?" But I was still scared. "Weren't we told drinking makes you bolder? Why am I still afraid?" I muttered. My friend lifted the bottle, 56% alcohol. "You drank half? Are you nuts?" My heart raced wildly, the lights spun around me, and my head swam. "What am I gonna do?" I wailed loudly. My friend held my head up, took away the bottle, and asked, "What did you do this time?" I leaned in and whispered loudly in her ear, "Alex found out." She looked shocked. "Found out the kid's his?" I let out a nervous laugh, "Almost. I'll be toast soon. Remember to come visit my grave next year." My friend let out a long sigh. "He hasn't figured it out yet, has he?" Then she placed me on the chair and went to get something from the table. "When he starts to suspect, just run. Or, if you like him, sleep with him first then run." Her words cut off abruptly. I blearily looked up. "Why'd you stop?" "I like listening to you." "Haha, sleep with him again." My friend suddenly clamped her hand over my mouth. In the dark, our eyes locked. In a hushed, spooky tone, she said, "Do you know where we are?" "The broadcasting room." I forgot to turn off the mic. Minutes later, my friend dragged me out of the broadcasting room. We stumbled down the hallway like we were flying a kite in the wind. I laughed like a madwoman. Hell, why would a resort have a broadcasting room anyway? "You're nuts, dragging me in there in the middle of the night." "Shut up." I have no idea where she took me, but at last, we stopped. I saw colorful lights spinning around, dazzling and blinding. People were noisy and bustling. The moment I saw the man approaching, I froze in fear. Alex's face lost its smile, and his dark eyes made me uneasy. Suddenly someone grabbed my friend, and a dude with a creepy smile said, "Where'd you put my birthday song, sweetie?" My friend, looking like she had no will to live, got hauled off. That left me standing there alone, like I had been hexed to stay still. Alex. In just a few minutes, everyone was shooed away. In that vast banquet hall, only Alex and I are left. Surrounded by Alex's crew, I couldn't escape. "Judy, why are you running?" Alex's voice was calm and unhurried. I was so scared my face turned pale, but I pretended to be tough. "I didn't run, I was just going on a trip, almost missing my flight." "Why are you going away?" "To mourn my deceased husband." Damn, what am I even saying? "Oh," Alex chuckled, "mourning your deceased husband." My face turned even paler. My lips trembled, and I couldn't utter a word. Yeah, after all, I did get married. Alex gently clasped my neck, smiling calmly and naturally. So, you're carrying my child and got married to someone else? He really knows everything. My legs went weak, and I nearly collapsed against him. And no. Alex slowly said, you have the guts to let my kid take another man's last name. Guess. Do you think I'll let you off the hook? My brain was trying to work. I clung to his arm with a whimper, begging him quietly, please, let me go. I was drunk and talking nonsense. Dora's dad died. I can video call you when I'm mourning if you don't believe me. Alex abruptly pulled me closer. His smile turned chilly at the corner of his lips. Keep making up stories, Judy. Your deceased husband, will stick around and listen to your nonsense. I already had way too much to drink. Now I'm too scared to move, burying my head in Alex's chest. Alex, I'm dizzy. Alex chuckled at me, saying, don't worry. I've got plenty of time to spend with you. It seems like he absolutely wanted an explanation. I held on to him and finally caught my breath before suddenly sprinting outside. Alex chuckled softly behind me. He didn't seem worried at all. I ran around like a headless chicken. Alex was right behind. At the door, someone stopped me, Miss Judy, there's no way out. I turned around and ran upstairs. I passed by all the doors guarded by people and finally reached one floor. Ahead, there was just one open room. It was the presidential suite of the hotel. I hesitated and looked into the distance, blocking Alex at the elevator, trying to seem fierce. You're not allowed to follow me. Alex replied with amusement, okay, I won't follow. As I turned to run to the door, I almost tripped on the thick carpet. Alex quickly caught me. The faint woody scent intensified with the warmth spreading around. Did your eyes grow on the top of your head? I struggled for a moment, realizing it was useless, and said with burning ears, Alex, let go of me, I can walk steadily. Oh, you can walk steadily. He lightly laughed, I thought you were drunk. Then he released me, watching as I stumbled inside. Walking with long strides, he followed leisurely. Slow down. Am I going to eat you? I barely managed to get inside the door. Suddenly, my legs felt light, and I was off the ground. The scene spun in front of me. I was thrown onto the bed. Drunk sure moves slowly, I've lost my patience waiting. Alex leisurely took off his watch. Alex. My voice trembled, please, no, don't kill me. Alex's voice was smiling, you broke up with me and wanted to cut ties, I listened to you. Now you want to leave? How should I let you go? In a daze, Alex's palm cushioned under my back, pushing me into his arms. I felt the warm body being enveloped in a faint fragrance, like being trapped in a maze. Couldn't break free, couldn't escape. Judy, ever heard of a ghost spouse taking you with them? The cool tone made me tremble all over. I struggled to move back, only to be slowly dragged back by Alex. Spare me, don't take me away, I was drowning in a hot flush, the alcohol making me babble nonsense. Even started spouting TV show lines. Alex seemed in a good mood, shoo, beg me. Please, I'm begging you. Fingertips slid down my neck, my whole body turned to jelly. Alex's cold laugh sounded, begging's no use. Didn't you want to sleep with Alex? If you can't, just don't close your eyes tonight. Sober Alex was apparently tougher to handle than 5 years ago. Unlike 5 years ago. Tonight, Alex seemed to be seeking some sort of retribution, kissing with force. Soon, the metallic taste of blood filled my mouth. Who's Dora's dad? It's not you, Alex smirked, giving me a light slap. Relax, don't you know your whole body tenses when you lie? Alex, I'm useless, telling the truth is the only way. I finally ended up exhausted and confessed with shivers. Only then did Alex stop, giving my forehead a soft kiss, saying all right, sleep now. Scenes from 5 years ago mingled with tonight's dreams, stirring me into a heated frenzy. I woke from a dream, faintly hearing water running in the bathroom. Alex was on the phone. The call was on speaker, distinctly audible over the water's rush. I thought you were going to break the girl's legs. I froze, realizing girl meant me. Alex's voice came, indifferent but serious. Normally, that's what should happen. So why not this time? There was a pause on Alex's end. She seemed quite pitiful, not scolding now. Slowly, I turned over. Seeing Alex emerging from the bathroom, I instinctively burrowed back under the covers. He came over, sat by the bed, and patted my head. When will you stop being so timid? Weren't you pretty good at scolding me before? I peeked out with only my eyes showing, said nothing. Alex watched for a while and sighed lightly, still too young. Should have just brought you back straight from abroad. Am I so scary? Not saying a word about this. Actually, I kept things hidden well in the beginning. I reported my whereabouts on time every week. Even arranged a scheduled message when going into the delivery room. To keep Alex from getting suspicious, I was almost reporting every day. Leaving nothing out. Those reports were to make him despise my messages. Thinking back, I suddenly grabbed Alex's phone on the nightstand, checking messages. To my surprise, I was pinned at the top. Alex ignored my shocked expression, patted my backside. Get up, going home today. I was feeling a bit overly worn out. On the way, it finally hit me that I should actually be mad at Alex. He hasn't even explained things with Amy yet. He hadn't even confessed his feelings. Isn't that a jerk? The car stopped in front of the old house. I glanced at him quietly, meeting his eyes, saying, "Don't argue, I'm mad at you." Alex paused. "What's up?" I said, "Guess." "Alex," and then he just left? My bestie was listening intently. I said, "Yep, he just walked away." My bestie was livid. "That's so rude." Actually, I forgot to mention that before Alex left, he asked me what I wanted to eat that night, but I just ignored him. She looked at my gloomy face and said, "Judy, have you ever thought that you're putting yourself down because your relationship isn't balanced? You need to let him know you're not a kid being bossed around anymore. You're a grown-up." I thought she was right. How do I do that? Just do everything Alex doesn't allow. Made sense to me. That night, Alex, still at work, received a text from me. It had pictures of male models, each handsome in his own way. "Alex, these two look good tonight, help me pick one." Alex called immediately. I heartlessly hung up. I even took Dora to stay with my bestie for a few days, boldly provoking Alex. The chat records I sent to Alex showed me falling for 18 young men in 10 days. My bestie nodded approvingly at the pictures she found online. "Good, this will give him a sense of crisis. Show him you don't need him." Alex started with warnings and then simply responded with numbers, as if counting for me. Just when I thought I could keep messing around for a few more days, Dora came to me crying, saying her teddy bear was missing. We retraced her steps until she sobbingly said, "I left Teddy in Dad's bedroom." Old house? Dad's bedroom? Dora nodded hard. "Mom, can you bring Teddy back?" Her tearful plea had me conflicted. What if I bump into Alex? I called the housekeeper. She said, "Mr. Alex isn't home tonight." Breathing a sigh of relief, I rushed to our old house. As dusk settled, the place grew dim. I reached Alex's bedroom door, ready to push it open when I heard running water inside. He was home. Nervously, I spotted Teddy's ear through the door gap, right within reach. Quietly, I pushed the door open enough to grab it, but unknowingly the water had stopped. I pulled a soft robe that felt lightly damp, and before I knew it, a hand lifted me and pulled me inside. The door clicked shut, snuffing out the last rays of light. Alex's familiar scent mixed with shower gel filled the air. "Judy, I don't recall ever teaching you to sneak into a man's room." His warm breath on my ear made me tingle. My legs turned to jelly, and I grabbed onto his robe, stubbornly saying, "I'm an adult. I don't need your lessons." Alex paused, seeming to understand my thoughts, chuckled, "My bad, shouldn't have left the door open to tempt you." My face was pressed against his open collar, feeling water droplets trail down his firm muscles into his robe. In a hoarse, amused voice, Alex suggested, "You can look if you want. Just a suggestion, not a lesson." His heated chest thumped beneath my hand. A sudden rebellious streak made me act as if his words were nothing, and I wrapped my arms around his neck, rose on tiptoe, and planted a kiss. Missed in the darkness, I ended up at his Adam's apple. Alex's breath deepened, effortlessly pinning my hands to the bed. "Not cold shouldering me anymore?" I pushed him slightly, grumbling, "Truce for now. I need to get Dora's teddy." Alex was unfazed. "All right, but let's discuss these 18 guys you fell for first." I was momentarily speechless, then asked him, "Do you think you've got me all figured out?" "I'm not easygoing or compliant. Just because we have a kid doesn't mean you can walk all over me." Alex chuckled, "Have I ever deceived you? Honestly, when haven't you had me wrapped around your finger? When did I ever control you?" Alex let go, "Since we were kids." He continued, "Whenever you failed a test, I'd persuade you to study, only for you to score even worse when you're upset." I muttered, "That's because you were too harsh." I was scared. Alex said, "Your parents entrusted you to me, so I had to show authority." I thought for a moment, fine, maybe you were just being a guardian then. But what about now? Am I harsher now? I replied, "You know our kid is yours and still watch me make a fool of myself." Alex fell silent and then said, "I was only guessing." "Why didn't you ask?" I questioned. With a shadowed expression, Alex asked, "Given our relationship, wouldn't asking make me seem like a creep?" Picturing it, I realized he had a point. It would seem creepy. Alex sighed. Whether it was sneakily taking Dora's hair for tests or other investigations, it felt like I was seeking you out, not as a peer, but as a predator. I defiantly asked, "So, only if I made the first move would you not be a creep?" "In principle, yes." I gave him a small kick. "Is that why you never confessed?" Alex softened, "I won't confess." He lowered his head and kissed me breathless. Watching me flush with embarrassment, he added, "I'll propose instead." I was stunned. Alex said, "I rushed it. Was ready but didn't expect you to grow impatient." I pondered over it. True, proposing isn't something you can forewarn me about. It would ruin the surprise. Then I remembered, but what about Amy? Isn't this too seamless? I never even touched her. How's that seamless? Alex pinched my cheek. Back then, when Amy schemed against me, she was helped by someone. I was targeting that person. They drugged me, and you got tangled up. He gave a little grin. Not seeking revenge would have been a missed opportunity, right? I stared at his face, slowly thinking, so you shouldn't have broken up with Amy. The people behind might be up to something. Everything's easier with Amy around. Alex pushed me down onto the pillow, leaned in for a kiss, but it didn't really matter. It's not worth getting mad over this sort of thing. As the night deepened, I finally realized that Alex was still a bit jealous. Those 18 young men really got to him. I was panicking a little. I warned him, "I am your equal, you can't punish me." Alex murmured, leaning to whisper in my ear, "Judy, if I were your guardian, I might have grounded you. But tonight, you're right, we're equals." As a man, he said the last 3 words and I was so shocked I widened my eyes. Before I could react, he had swept me off my feet. Finally, Alex asked with a laugh, "Shall we get our marriage certificate tomorrow?" Still lost in a daze, I said confused by the rush. "Isn't it too soon?" "Too soon. Feels about right," he said. "Weren't you going to wait for me to propose?" Alex chuckled, "Sure can." He suddenly intensified his moves, lazily saying, "Come on, Judy, propose to me." When I seemed ready to cry, Alex stopped and coaxed, "All right then, give me a title, what do you say?" My best friend stared at the ring on my finger, wide-eyed. This soon? I nodded, yeah, this soon. News of Alex wearing a wedding ring spread the next day. Considering my and Dora's situation, I wasn't planning to go public just yet. So there was a lot of speculation about Alex's bride. Hey Judy, we meet again. Drew blocked my way at the mall, third time in a month. Like a shadow that wouldn't leave. Alex is really busy, how could he ignore your feelings just to get married? I tossed a bag of chips into the cart, unsure. My feelings? Drew politely said, you like Alex, don't you? Must be heartbroken he's marrying. I admitted he has a disarming smile. But something seemed off about him, mentally. He thought Alex was marrying someone else. Hesitating, Drew offered me a phone. Judy, I can help, if you follow my lead. Help me with what? Getting Alex. I looked at him seriously for the first time. I took the phone, laughed, all right, you're quite the do-gooder. In half an hour, we became allies. Alex parked on time at the mall entrance. I ran out with the bags, jumped in, and met his gaze, smiling brightly. Alex. His smile froze. Since the wedding, Alex banned me from calling him Alex in public. Or else I'd be punished at home. His gaze lingered on the phone I held, understanding immediately. Get in. I leaned into him with no restraint. Alex, I've missed you. Caught up getting married to your aunt, why ignore me? Alex's eyelid twitched. Here I am, aren't I? I winked silently at him. In my earpiece, Drew said, remember, set up the camera when you get home. With video evidence, we can't lose. Alex seemed back to his old self. On the ride home, he played the part of Alex and wouldn't touch me. The moment we got home, he went to his study. Drew urged me, quick, change clothes. Trust me, record a video of him with you, and I'll help. I made a sound of agreement and went to the bedroom. Drew sounded pleased, brave girl, well done. I changed, set up the phone, when I heard the door open. Judy. Alex's voice stopped when he saw my outfit. I tugged at the school uniform I wore, smiling, looks a lot like my old high school uniform, Alex, remember? Alex sighed, closed the door in silence, and turned to take off his watch. Still reliving my youthful excitement, I got scooped up suddenly, hanging in midair. What? Alex. Smack. A slap landed on my butt, Alex's smile chilly. What did I say to call me? I fought fruitlessly. Hey, what are you doing? Alex effortlessly took the hidden phone from its spot and spoke into it, smiling, Mr. Drew, I thought last time was a sufficient warning for you. Chatting away, he pinned me under the covers. Blushing fiercely, just as I tried to escape, Alex grabbed me back into his grip. Drew's voice came through the phone, mocking, Alex, you facade of respectability. It's bad enough you're marrying, but lusting after your niece? You'll be ruined tomorrow. Alex chuckled, you can try. Then he hung up. I hid my face in a cushion, Alex. Rip. Along with the sound of fabric tearing. My clothes fell into pieces. I was dumbfounded. Alex lazily said, didn't know you were into this. Want me to be a beast? Keep calling. I quietly said, he keeps bugging me, it's annoying. I just wanted to mess with him. Then I accused, you knew he was recording, and still you picked me up. Alex leaned down to kiss me, don't worry, it won't get out. Now, say it again. Alex. Is your butt itching for another smack? I wrapped my arms around his neck affectionately, hubby. After that day, life returned to calm. A few weeks later, I went out for tea with my bestie, when we saw the news. A local business owner was arrested for tax evasion and other charges. My bestie pointed with her fork at the TV, Alex's rival, somewhat related to Amy. I recognized the face. Drew. On TV, Drew muttered passionately to the camera. his conviction almost bursting through the screen. The broadcast didn't include his voice, just the reporter narrating the news. I asked, "What's he saying? Doesn't look too bright." My best friend squinted and lip read, "He's talking to you." "Huh?" He said, "Judy, I won't let you down. When I get out, let's try again." So Alex still hasn't told Drew about our marriage. As Drew went to jail, some things from back then started coming to light. 5 years ago, that night, Drew seized the moment during the party to slip something into Alex's drink without him noticing. Afterwards, he had someone send Alex back to the hotel room. Then he sent Amy to follow up. He wanted to make the situation irreversible. But Amy messed up and went into the wrong room. Afterwards, she realized she'd been with a male college student. Meanwhile, since my secretary was busy, I brought a change of clothes from home to Alex. By pure chance, that led to another kind of situation. And Drew, who was determined to ruin his nemesis through scandal, when he found Amy was of no use, set his sights on me. This whole farce gradually came to an end when Drew went to prison. Alex specially set aside Dora's summer vacation to take us abroad for a trip. At the bustling airport, I suddenly heard a familiar voice. It was Amy. She seemed to be arguing with a young man. "Wait, is that?" Alex said, "That's the male college student she slept with." I was shocked. They're still together after all these years? Yeah. Alex was giving Dora a lollipop and said, "He came to find me right after Amy. Amy was just getting started on her scheme, and he tore it down. I always knew it wouldn't have been Amy that night." "Then why did you announce it publicly?" Alex gazed at the lollipop in Dora's hand, paused, then smiled. "I don't know. Maybe I was waiting for someone to come back. Or waiting for someone to step up and claim me." Suddenly, an image popped into my head of a big black dog holding up a tag, waiting for its owner. Did you ever think, what if it wasn't me? I did. Alex wiped Dora's sticky hand. I thought about it almost every night. Judy, my feelings for you aren't entirely innocent. If it wasn't you, I'd keep my distance. Maybe we'd never meet again in this life. My heart skipped a beat. When did you start? I don't know. Alex patted Dora's head. Maybe when you became an adult, maybe. Alex didn't finish talking. That's when I realized, the fact that we have today is 1 in a million. Without that twist of fate, no matter how forthcoming or warm I was, Alex wouldn't have been moved. I silently hooked his fingertip. In the end, Dora and my identities couldn't be kept hidden. On the day it was exposed, our vacation hadn't ended yet. I held my phone the entire day, nervous and restless. After all, my relationship with Alex is quite complicated. It was bound to be judged by society. But it seemed like this thing didn't cause much of a stir online. My friend said over the phone, "Don't worry, no one around knows about it. Either Alex is offering hush money or suppressing the hot search. With everything the Alex family has, how could they not protect you?" A few days passed, and it was still calm. My heart finally started to relax. That evening, Dora went with the nanny to collect shells by the sea. The sunset filtered through the glass, spreading across the white sheets. After being intimate, Alex pressed me against the window and kissed me gently. Tired? I was bathed in the crimson sunset, After a shower, I glanced at Alex's phone. He was in the shower room. When a message came in, I called him, but he didn't hear me. So I opened it. It was a message from one of Alex's older relatives. "Jim, I didn't expect you to be so stubborn. If you insist, then so be it." I scrolled up and found Alex's chat history with this relative. Looking at the dates, it was from when we were still in the country. "We don't agree with you and Judy. The Alex family has never faced such a scandal. Alex, I'm informing you, not asking for your consent. She's your brother's child. Alex, adopted daughter, doesn't even share the last name. Scoundrel." What kind of adopted daughter? Seducing her uncle, doesn't she fear divine punishment, reincarnation as an animal? Alex, I seduced her. If divine retribution comes, let it come for me alone, I'll be the beast alone. Actually, no need to wait for another life. Alex sent over a draft press release basically saying, he, Alex, is worse than a beast, eyeing his niece, and forcefully taking. Third uncle, should I contact the media right now to publish it? The Alex family elder was so angry they sent a string of exclamation marks. Are you trying to ruin the Alex family? If you're set on ruining her, I'll ruin the Alex family. You. Alex said, before you curse, I suggest finding the right person. She's young, can't handle bad words, and if I learn you try to lay a finger on her, you and I will have to speak more directly. The shower room door opened. I quickly hid the phone under the pillow. Aren't you tired? Alex routinely scooped me up, curling me into a ball in his embrace. Reflecting on earlier, I asked, why did you suddenly take me on a vacation? No particular reason. Saw it makes you happy, so we went. This trip was quite rushed. The moment we got the news, we left. It must have been because of his third uncle. Turns out, he had already settled everything without my knowing. I didn't probe further but instead kissed him, sliding my hand into his soft robe. Alex held my hand, his voice raspy, Judy, you still have energy? I leaned forward and kissed his lips. Alex, I love you. Alex tensed up, rolling over to pull me back into the glowing sunset. Judy, I love you too. The swaying sheets turned the remnants of the dusk into blooming roses. Daylight dimmed. Moonlight lingered,